Hi, I'm Kimberly. Welcome back to the Success Series Talks. Talks designed to help you get what you want out of life. Remember to listen, take notes, and most importantly, act. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to learn how to play racquetball while attending a university. As part of my homework, I was required to practice. So every day for an hour or two, I would go to the court. When I started to get so I could at least make my way around the court, I started playing with one of my roommates, who had played for a couple of years. One day, while we were playing, there were these two women who showed up. The university allowed people from the community to use the facilities as well. They asked if they could join us, and we welcomed the opportunity for more competition. It didn't take us long to figure out that they were really good. As it turned out, they had both played semi-professionally in their younger days. At this point, one of them was in her 60s and one was in her 70s. Over the next 8 months, I saw them frequently as they came several times a week, so the three of us would play. In the beginning, I was really bad compared to them, and actually, if I am honest, I was just bad in general. Anyway, I was 28, and those two wore me out. I just couldn't understand it. They had me running all over the court and dead tired by the end. Meanwhile, I never saw either one of them run more than a foot or two at any given time. And the thing was, they were always winning. When I would play with them, we usually played the rules for 3 players. And because I was so bad, they would let me start out at 8 points. Usually at the end of the game, one or the other of them would win, and I would still be at 8 points. Through playing with them, I started to notice some things they did, and I started to ask them about it. They knew how to hit the ball just perfect, so it bounced off the front wall parallel to the floor so low that it was impossible to hit. They also had a serve, which they did on me all the time, that seemed impossible to hit. They taught me a secret for how to recognize it coming, prepare for it, and counter it. I started practicing these things. For hours, I would go to the court and practice hitting low balls and serving the ball in just the right way to make it difficult for one of them to hit it. When I practiced that, then I would hurry and position myself to counter it. I got 2 birds with 1 stone that way. I practiced this for months. Then one day, a miracle happened. I got 9 points at the end of the game. That really meant I had scored 1 because I started at 8, remember. I was so excited though. I went home and told my roommates, and we celebrated with milkshakes from Arctic Circle. I kept practicing hard all the time. About 4 months into this, I graduated, but continued to live close to campus. I had a job in the evening and was available all day, so I continued to practice and play with them. Pretty soon, I got so that I could get 2, then 3, then 5, then 6 points. Then one day, they announced that I no longer got to start at 8 points. I now had to start at 0. I was pretty excited if I got anywhere from 4 to 12 points against them. Finally, I won my first match. I was ecstatic. I celebrated with my roommates again. I didn't win all the time. As a matter of fact, very seldom. But every now and again, I would win. I learned some lessons from those two and that game that I would like to share with you. Number 1, competition is good. I practiced because I wanted to get a good grade, which put me in competition with myself. However, the standards of the class were not nearly as high as the standards of those 2 women. The competition I had with them caused me to excel and constantly strive to be better. They never went easy on me or let me win. I had to really work hard to earn every point I got. Find someone in your life who pushes you to be your best. Someone who won't let you just get by being mediocre. It is good to be constantly seeking to improve and become your best self. Competition does have the ability to bring out the worst in people, but it also has the ability to bring out the best. Which one it brings out in you is actually a choice you get to make. Use competition against yourself and others to propel you forward in life. Many times I've had competitions with other people and they didn't even know about it. At times when several of us would have to do the same job, then I would try to work faster and see if I could get more done than them. Then I would try to see if I could do it twice as fast as them. What about 3 times as fast? It didn't matter that the others didn't know there was a competition. It only mattered that I knew and that I set the bar. Number 2, seek advice from other people. While they would occasionally tell me something I needed to do to improve, much of how I progressed involved me noticing what they did better and then asking them to help me. I was very aware of where I was lacking, and so I sought to improve in those areas. I took initiative to get the help I needed, and then I practiced that. I asked for advice on how to hold my racket and how to swing. And every once in a while, I had to ask them how to avoid a situation. One day, while following the ball, I could see that it was going to bounce off the back wall really hard, so I positioned myself to follow it. I knew I had to hit it before it reached the front wall. So I wound up and I swung my racket just inches from the front wall. But I made one mistake. I didn't hit it at the right angle, and it came back and hit me so hard at the bridge of my nose that it broke skin and gave me a black eye. So the next question I asked was, what did I do wrong, and how could I avoid it in the future? And then I kept playing. I had many opportunities to hit the ball in similar situations, and gratefully, I did it right. Number 3, welcome mentors. These 2 women became my mentors. I welcomed their superior skills to help challenge me. I welcomed their advice and even their criticism at times. Because I was willing to learn from them rather than be intimidated by them, I was able to get really good and have a lot of fun. My racquetball mentors never went easy on me. They never gave me a break. They demanded that I came up to their level, and they never came down to mine. You may have heard that before you can lift another, you must be standing on higher ground. That is true. It is also important that after a mentor is on higher ground, that they remain there. It wouldn't have done me any good if they had started playing as badly as I was. I would have never gotten any better. But because they played their best, it pushed me and made me want to do better. And the amazing thing is that I did rise and I did improve. Number 4, reward yourself for reaching your goals. Did you notice how when I reached a milestone, I celebrated with my roommates? While being intrinsically motivated is good, and I had plenty of that, it is also good to give yourself a little extrinsic motivation every now and then. This is a natural part of life because it works. We get paid to work. We get points when we score. Teachers give us stickers and stamps on our papers for a job well done. They do this because we are wired to get excited about achieving new heights. However, sometimes the reward at the end of the endeavor is a ways off. And so we have to give ourselves little rewards along the way to remind us of what we are doing and to encourage us to keep going. Number 5, don't be afraid to be bad at first. I couldn't get good until I was bad. You've heard the quote that if something is worth doing, then it is worth doing right. Well, sometimes we may not be able to do something right in the beginning. I couldn't serve or receive or even hit the ball right at first. Well, here's another quote that I want you to internalize. If something is worth doing, then it is worth doing badly at first. There are very few people who are just naturally good at something when they first try it. And for those who are, at some point, they realize they still fall short of being able to play at competitive levels. Everyone has to start out as a beginner. We all have to start out bad. You've been doing this since you were a baby. You started off speaking and walking really badly. It wasn't something to be ashamed of. That was just the way it was. So it is, whether you are a kid, a teen, or an adult. You will start off badly, and that is okay. Accept it and work on getting good, preferably as soon as possible. Number 6, practice is essential. I didn't get better by just going in there and watching them, or even just playing with them and asking them for advice. I practiced some of the moves they taught me more than 1,000 times to finally master them. I would have never scored that first point if I had just hoped that I was going to get good enough playing with them a couple of times a week. And I definitely never would have won. I put in hours and hours. I practiced some of my serves until I could do it 10 times in a row without messing up. If I messed up at any given point, then I would start over at 1 and do it again to 10. Then I started trying to get to 20. I practiced when I was tired, and I practiced when I was sore. I was determined to get better, and it paid off. Anything we really want to be good at requires effort. Number 7, conquer fear and try something new. So racquetball was something I had no experience with before I got to the college. In the 4 previous years that I had been there, I had played twice, once with a date, and once with a roommate. So when I needed a filler class, I looked at all the PE classes and remembered how scared I was of the ball every time someone invited me to play. I hated being in that situation, and I didn't want to be in it anymore. I was tired of being uncomfortable, and I didn't want to have to feel like I had to turn people down. So getting better was the only solution. Racquetball is fast. One comedian once said it is the only sport where you can be looking at the ball ahead of you and get hit on the back of the head at the same time. It's pretty true. It's a pretty accurate description of how it feels when you're on the court. Every time I had played with other people, I had tried hard to not get hit. And so I'd really never even hit the ball because I spent the entire time just avoiding it. However, after learning, I not only stopped avoiding the ball, but I actually sought the opportunity to hit it. So let me ask you, what roadblocks stand in your way? Is it the fear of something, a challenge that is beyond your current skills, or maybe a recent failure? Whatever it is, don't let it get the best of you. Figure out what you need to do to get better and start practicing. While doing that, welcome advice and criticism from other people. When you ask people to help you, make sure you trust them and that they truly have your best interests at hand. A mentor can make all the difference in anything in life. Make sure they are on higher ground than you and that what they do is worth emulating and working toward. Then, just remember that it is okay to reward yourself for hitting large goals and small goals along the way. This will keep you excited about accomplishing other goals in the future and help you to strive to become the best you can be. Remember, the most important person for you to impress is yourself. Life is like a game. You may win, you may lose at times, you may even master it. But above all, you should have fun.